October 30th, the visionary. Every Scorpio has intuition. But October 30th Scorpios often pair that intuition with something just as powerful. Vision. They don't simply ask, "What is happening today?" They're constantly asking, "Where is this leading?" While others focus on immediate results, October 30th Scorpios naturally think several steps ahead. That's why people sometimes misunderstand them. Friends may think they're being overly cautious. Coworkers may wonder why they spend so much time planning. But months later, the very outcome they quietly predicted often becomes reality. This isn't because they can see the future. It's because they notice patterns. They connect details that most people overlook. A change in someone's attitude. A shift in the workplace. A new opportunity that others dismiss. October 30th Scorpios understand that small changes often become major turning points. And because of that, they rarely make impulsive decisions. The hidden strength. Their greatest strength isn't intelligence alone. It's emotional discipline. When life becomes chaotic, they have an unusual ability to pause before reacting. That single pause often saves them from decisions they would later regret. While others allow emotions to control their choices, October 30th Scorpios try to understand those emotions first. That doesn't mean they never get angry, or hurt, or disappointed. They simply know that temporary emotions shouldn't make permanent decisions. This ability becomes one of their greatest advantages in both personal and professional life. Love. October 30th Scorpios don't fall for appearances. Attraction may catch their attention, but character keeps it. They're looking for someone whose actions remain consistent long after first impressions fade. Trust grows slowly, but once it exists, it's incredibly difficult to break. They enjoy deep conversations far more than surface-level excitement. Late-night talks, shared dreams, honest vulnerability. Those moments matter far more than expensive gifts or dramatic displays of affection. To love an October 30th Scorpio, you don't need perfection. You need sincerity. Career. This birth date often shines in careers that reward strategy. Financial planning, technology, medicine, architecture, business ownership, scientific research, creative direction, any field where long-term thinking creates extraordinary results. Many October 30th Scorpios become known for solving problems others couldn't figure out. Not because they rush toward solutions, but because they patiently examine every angle before acting. Life lesson. Their biggest lesson is learning that not every situation can be controlled. Sometimes, the strongest decision is trusting the process. The moment they stop carrying the weight of every possible outcome, life becomes lighter, and surprisingly, success often arrives faster. October 31st, the fearless transformer. Halloween belongs to October 31st. And perhaps that's fitting, because transformation has always been one of Scorpio's greatest symbols. People born on October 31st rarely remain the same person throughout life. They're constantly evolving. Every challenge teaches them something. Every disappointment reshapes their perspective. Every success reminds them they're capable of even more. This birth date carries remarkable emotional courage. Not because they're fearless, but because they're willing to face uncomfortable truths. If something isn't working, they'll eventually confront it. If a relationship has become unhealthy, they'll choose honesty over pretending. If a dream still matters, they'll begin again, even after failure. That's what separates October 31st. Scorpios. They understand that endings aren't always losses. Sometimes, they're invitations to begin something better. Their greatest gift, People born on this date have an incredible ability to inspire change in others. Not through motivational speeches, not through pressure, but through example. When friends watch an October 31st Scorpio rebuild their life after a setback, they begin believing they can rebuild their own. That influence is powerful, because hope is contagious. And October 31st Scorpios quietly remind people that resilience is a choice made every single day. Relationships. They want emotional honesty above everything else. Pretending, manipulation, half-truths. Those things slowly destroy trust. But kindness, patience, loyalty, those qualities create a relationship that can last for decades. Once they know someone truly accepts them, their playful side begins to appear. The mysterious Scorpio suddenly becomes warm, funny, deeply affectionate, and incredibly protective. Only a small number of people ever see that side, which makes it even more valuable. Career. October 31st Scorpios often succeed where innovation meets determination. Entrepreneurship, creative media, psychology, investing, leadership, writing, research. They don't fear starting over. And that willingness to reinvent themselves often becomes the very reason they achieve remarkable success. Life lesson. Their greatest challenge is letting go of the belief that every battle must be fought alone. Strength isn't isolation. Strength is knowing when to trust the right people. And once October 31st Scorpios discover that, their hidden power becomes almost impossible to ignore. Next comes November 1st, a Scorpio birth date often associated with quiet confidence, unwavering focus, and an inner determination that rarely needs anyone's approval. November 1st, the quiet achiever. If there is one thing people often misunderstand about November 1st Scorpios, it's this. They mistake silence for a lack of ambition. Nothing could be further from the truth. People born on November 1st don't usually announce every goal they're working toward. They don't post every plan. They don't need constant validation. In fact, many of them believe that the best results come from working in private and letting success speak for itself. While others are talking about what they hope to accomplish, November 1st Scorpios are already taking the first step. That quiet discipline becomes one of their greatest strengths. They understand something many people eventually learn much later in life. Consistency beats excitement. A little progress every day eventually becomes extraordinary progress over time. That's why people are often surprised by how much they've accomplished. It seems sudden, but for the November 1st Scorpio, it was years in the making. The hidden power. Their hidden power isn't intensity. It's focus. When they truly believe in something, distractions begin to disappear. They're capable of spending months, or even years, developing a skill, building a career, or improving themselves without losing sight of the bigger picture. Many people start strong. November 1st Scorpios finish strong. That's the difference. They're willing to keep going long after everyone else has become impatient. And in today's world, where so many people expect instant results, that patience becomes a competitive advantage. Relationships. November 1st Scorpios don't open their hearts easily. They know that trust is valuable, so they protect it. When they first meet someone, they usually ask themselves one question. Can this person be consistent? Not charming, not exciting, consistent. Because they know that real love isn't built in one unforgettable moment. It's built through hundreds of ordinary moments where two people continue choosing each other. If someone earns their trust, they'll discover a partner who is deeply loyal, emotionally present, and incredibly dependable. But if that trust is repeatedly broken, November 1st Scorpios rarely forget it. Not because they enjoy holding grudges, but because they've learned that repeated actions reveal true character. Career. This birth date often excels in careers requiring discipline and long-term thinking. Finance, engineering, healthcare, law, business ownership, research, education, project management. These Scorpios don't mind difficult work if it leads to meaningful results. They're rarely looking for shortcuts. Instead, they're looking for systems that continue working for years. Many become respected leaders simply because people know they can be counted on. The lesson life teaches them. One lesson returns throughout their lives. Don't confuse independence with isolation. November 1st Scorpios are incredibly capable, but sometimes they carry every responsibility themselves. They believe asking for help might make them appear weak. In reality, the strongest leaders know how to build great teams. The moment they begin trusting others with responsibility instead of carrying everything alone, their influence grows far beyond what they could ever accomplish by themselves. November 2nd The emotional architect. Every Scorpio feels deeply, but November 2nd Scorpios do something different with those emotions. They build from them. Pain becomes wisdom. Failure becomes experience. Hope becomes action. Rather than allowing difficult moments to define them, they slowly transform those experiences into a stronger version of themselves. That's why many people admire them without fully understanding why. There's a quiet maturity about this birth date. Even at a young age, they often seem older than their years, not because they've stopped enjoying life, but because they've learned that every experience has something to teach. Their hidden gift. November 2nd Scorpios have an unusual ability to recognize potential, not only in themselves, but in other people. They often see talent before anyone else notices it. A struggling friend, a new employee, a young artist, a child learning a skill, while others focus on current ability. November 2nd Scorpios imagine what that person could become. That's why they're often excellent mentors, coaches, teachers, managers, and parents. Helping others grow brings them genuine satisfaction. Success feels even more meaningful when it's shared. Love. For this birth date, emotional safety matters more than perfection. They don't expect a flawless relationship. They expect honesty, respect, effort. When those qualities exist, they're incredibly patient during life's difficult seasons. But emotional manipulation, repeated dishonesty, or broken promises slowly erode the foundation of trust. Once that foundation disappears, rebuilding it becomes extremely difficult. Because November 2nd Scorpios believe something simple but powerful. Love without trust eventually becomes fear. And fear was never meant to be the foundation of a healthy relationship. Career. This birth date often succeeds where emotional intelligence matters. Human resources, counseling, healthcare, leadership, entrepreneurship, public speaking, creative industries, negotiation. People naturally feel comfortable around them because they listen before they judge. That ability often opens professional doors that technical skills alone never could. The lesson they discover, their greatest challenge is remembering that they can't rescue everyone. Compassion is one of their greatest strengths. But carrying everyone else's burdens eventually becomes exhausting. The healthiest version of a November 2nd Scorpio learns something important. You can support people without trying to live their life for them. And once they understand that balance, their hidden power becomes one of the most inspiring expressions of Scorpio energy. Next November 3rd we will continue in next part. Till then, take care and subscribe Cosmic Insight Daily for such more Scorpio zodiac insights.